Ladies and gentlemen, in this video I show you a live roleplay where I simulate the common conflict between me, a husband or a boyfriend, and my potential wife/girlfriend, and I try to resolve it using Nonviolent Communication by Marshall B. Rosenberg. And I'm sharing this with you today not because I'm so good in conflict resolution, but because I'm so bad in conflict resolution. I truly suck in that, to be honest. And that's because I was avoidant my whole life. Up to this day, I'm still lacking this skill, which is one of the most important skills for healthy relationships. And I'm personally, and maybe you as well, am scared as hell of conflict and of the loss of harmony in my relationship. And therefore, I'm currently learning this skill. And as I think this is so important to learn, I thought, well, maybe it's also important or interesting, helpful for anyone out you there. So this is maybe a relationship saver for you, maybe a marriage saver, hopefully something that is truly helpful for anyone out there who is from time to time or regularly struggling with relationship conflict and fight with their loved ones. And maybe you also don't want to run away anymore. So welcome to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Robert, and I'm not a healthcare professional myself, but instead I share a client's perspective here on this channel, sharing my own experiences with therapy. I've worked with various therapists and I've read a ton of books on complex childhood trauma and relationships and high sensitivity, all those types of topics, and I'm sharing those things here with you guys. So the first question before I dive right into the role play is, why does conflict resolution not really always work? And why is conflict resolution not as easy as it would be, for example, in such a simulation, such a role play that we are doing here in this video? Because you will see that in the role play, it might look easy in a way, and there are also strategies and you can use empathy to resolve conflict. But the truth is, when conflict hits, it doesn't just touch the current issue that you might be dealing with your loved one. It also, at the same time, activates your inner child. So a part of you that is still holding a lot of pain and shame and a lot of fear from the past. And when your loved one is calling you names or is triggered themselves and they say things they don't mean in a triggered or heated situation, it might also do something with you and trigger your inner child and your topics. So then you might feel a wave of toxic shame coming up. So a deep sense that you're bad or that you are failing the relationship or that you are constantly doing things wrong. And you might also be flooded with guilt, even if you, in that situation, maybe didn't do anything wrong or just you have a specific need or something. Or you might feel incredibly hurt by your partner or exposed or even rejected or fear abandonment of your partner, even if they didn't mean it that way. And in some cases, your nervous system might even shut down completely and you might dissociate or freeze and anxiety fully takes over. And then you have this urge to run away and to quit another relationship, like I did that so many times. But now I want to learn that skill, and maybe you also want to learn that. So relationship resolution, and that's also a thing here, it doesn't always happen within the moment of the fight or within the argument or the conflict. So I'm personally always not able to resolve a conflict like I now show in the role play. In reality, in most relationship conflicts, it most of the times look like this. There is like a fight, there is the argument, the conflict, and both sides are heated and are emotional and maybe hurt each other. And then after the fight, there is the calm down phase. And then both of you try to connect with each other. And after the conflict, as you both are emotionally calmer, there is time to talk and to resolve things. And often you both see also using this sense of empathy again, which is maybe buried under the resentment and the pain during the conflict, and the empathy comes back in and the love comes back and you feel the connection again, and then you suddenly understand the other side way better, and you see, if I'm totally honest, you're 100% right. I was failing that one, or I did something wrong there, and I truly get your point, because I also want the same thing basically, but how couldn't we miscommunicate that much? So this is usually how conflict resolution works. And there are definitely methods and strategies, or let's say ways to learn this skill and to apply that in our relationships. And one of the most amazing methods that I learned was the communication style of the author Marshall B. Rosenberg. And his communication method is called Nonviolent Communication. And I love this so much because with this communication style, he truly focuses on what's important in a loving relationship, in a connection. He focuses on natural communication, on understanding, on empathy, and truly putting yourself into the shoes of your partner, trying to feel the needs, the emotions that your partner is going through. And there is this book of him as well. I had this as an audiobook and I listened to it when I was doing my walks. When I was living in Berlin in 2021, I was listening to the audiobook and I constantly was taking notes on my phone. And I also published the notes that I took back then, so the summary of this full book and the strategy on in our premium community as well. So here's the strategy summary, and you can cut. So here's the book summary, and you can also access this, by the way. If you go to understandable.net, you can start a 7-day free trial, and then you can access this summary and many more courses and exercises from therapy. But let's have a look at the first few paragraphs here of the summary, which we will then take into the role play in a bit. So Marshall B. Rosenberg says, when you're in a fight, when you're in a heated conflict, let's put your own triggers aside, okay? Usually you are triggered yourself, and then you have to deal with your trauma stuff as well in the conflict. I mean, the conflict itself is not enough. But let's say in an ideal conflict, you could remind yourself that you're fully grown up being, that you're safe in your relationship, and that you have your boundaries, emotions, and needs, and everything is fine. And then what you do is you would try to, first of all, listen to what your partner is actually trying to say there. So you just take in the feelings, in the emotion of your partner, and what you can do then is first, listening and feeling, try to paraphrase them and repeat them. Get back to your sense of empathy. Try to feel what your partner is feeling there. And you just observe, you don't judge. You can say something like, it sounds like that you feel frustration, that you feel upset with me, that you feel frustrated or angry with me, just to first of all, get to the feeling and feel what your partner is feeling there. You don't say, you're always so frustrated, why can you never understand me? Don't be reactive here. Just listen and observe. And afterwards, after we communicated the feelings, we want to understand the needs, because behind every emotion, there stands a need. And when we understood the needs, then we get to the solution or the compromise part, where we want to take action, concrete action plans. So I would just say, without further ado, let's just jump into the conflict and see how the role play goes. So I built a custom GPT for that. And first of all, I thought, well, I would just show that to my premium subscribers, to everyone who's on understandable.net, is subscribed there for the premium courses. But then I thought, well, it's way too important and helpful to not show that to the public community here on YouTube and on the podcast as well. So this is what I'm doing here. But If you want to train yourself using that exact same conflict trainer, you can go to understandable.net, become a member, start a 7-day free trial, and then you have access to the communication trainers as well, which are right here in the AI class. I have a full trainer here for de-escalation of relationship conflict, and this is the exact model that we also use here, the custom GPT. You can also download the summary here from the book, but access the trainer here as well. And then we have another trainer, especially for the communication of needs and emotions, which is also another highly relevant skill for relationships. So if you want to access those two custom models, understandable.net, and you can access those in the 7-day trial again for free, next to all the other dozens of courses and exercises that we have on the platform. So the custom GPT here put me in a really difficult setup, and this is level 9 intensity. And let's see where I'm in here right now. So I play the husband, and GPT plays my potential hypothetically wife here. So the scenario is I've gotten home late again. She's sitting at the table scrolling on her phone, tense. She doesn't look up right away. Her voice is clipped, trying to stay calm but shaking underneath. Wow, look who finally decided to show up. You couldn't even text? You know, my ex at least knew how to call when he was running late. Maybe I should have stayed with someone who actually gave a damn. She sets her phone down hard on the table, eyes flashing with anger and disappointment. It's like I don't even exist to you when you've got other things going on. Okay, now it's time to reply from my side. So what I'm doing now in this situation, first of all, I feel a bit surprised because I'm now coming home and I didn't expect that. Maybe you might expect that your partner is upset with you, but in this situation, I didn't see that coming. So I'm a bit overwhelmed. So I'm like, my dear, and then I slowly put my keys and my phone down, and then I feel inside myself and I feel heard within me. What she's saying there, that she was better staying with her ex. And then because trauma overwhelms my own trauma response, it's too much and I feel dysregulated, I try to paraphrase that to her and say, okay, I don't want to react out of my inner child now. Can I have 30 seconds to breathe, please? Because I want to understand you from my adult me. She freezes a moment, still tense. Her tone softens for half a second, then snaps back like she's fighting herself not to cave too soon. 30 seconds? Fine. Take your 30 seconds. You always need time. You always need space. And somehow it's me who's left sitting here alone, wondering if you'll ever actually come back and talk like you would say you will. Her eyes glisten, anger slipping into hurt. I don't even know if I believe you anymore when you say you want to understand me. You just say, but nothing ever changes. Makes me feel sad now, even if it's a role play. But I can truly feel the pain here, the hurt that she's not being seen, not being understood. So because I can truly feel her and I just see that she's full of pain, and I can see that and feel that within me as well. When I just see her or imagine her in the situation, I just try to put that in words, and I say to her, dear, I feel that you're full of pain, and it sounds like you're feeling so much frustration and sadness here. Again, like you would do in nonviolent communication, you don't project your own feelings now onto her, or you won't point the finger on her and say, why are you always complaining? You never understand me neither. I feel frustrated as well when you react this way. No, I truly try to put myself in her shoes now, try to understand her point of view and try to feel her feelings. So instead of being reactive here and protective, because this is also a common response, and I have that as well in my real conflicts, I'm always getting protective real quick or getting defiant, and then I'm triggered out of my inner child. Instead of doing that, I just try to confirm that she's actually right. And I say that I have to truly admit it if I think about it, that yes, I always need a lot of time and space, or at least often. And it's true that I often leave you alone. So I'm just confirming that I understand her point of view now. Her eyes flicker, your calm tone catches her off guard. Her voice drops a little, but there's still a rough edge to it. Yeah, you do. And when you leave, I just sit here and start thinking maybe it's me. Maybe I'm too much or too needy or just not worth staying for. She shakes her head, tears welling but not falling. I hate that I even care this much. I tell myself not to, but every time you pull away, it feels like I'm the only one fighting for us. I'm replying here again because I just feel sorry. I just can barely take it and see her suffering. I say that, dear, I feel so sorry. And I also have tears in my eyes and a stone in my stomach because I also feel hurt. And I feel sorry that I made her feel this way. And when you're honest, probably in every conflict that you also might have, if you could truly look through your own triggers and your own pain and shame and dissociation and whatever there is, you would cry as well because you would see your partner suffering there. And what I'm trying to say here now is that I've never understood that you have these thoughts, because maybe she never told me. And I confirm again, no, it's not you being too needy. But I know I'm an avoidant person. I say it's me being avoidant here. And I sometimes forget how important our relationship is to me. So I make a concrete plan here, a concrete action, a suggestion, and I say to her, I offer, from now on, I will call you every time I'm coming home later. So taking phone and setting a reminder. Look, I've set a daily reminder on my phone. Ideally, I could also add here, how do you feel about that? And ask her again for her feelings to prove that I care for her feelings. And her reply now is her lips part slightly as she watches you. The anger drains out of her face. She looks down, blinking fast, then back at you, voice trembling but warm. You did that? She lets out a shaky breath, half laughing through the emotion. God, I wasn't expecting you to actually do something about it right now. She steps a little closer, eyes softening. Thank you. I needed to feel like I matter to you, like I'm not the last thing on your list. Her voice quiets to almost a whisper. I don't want to fight you. I just want to feel close again. And this is usually what you get in the bottom line of every conflict, at least in my life and ever has been, was always, honestly, I don't want to fight you. I just want connection. I want to be understood. And if you're completely honest, you probably feel the same way. So now basically the conflict is solved. It's not heated anymore. We found a practical solution. So let's see what the reflection part says, because I built the GPT this way that you always get like a reflection report to see what worked out through the resolution part and what didn't work out. And GPT says that I handled it quite remarkable with empathy, and I stayed emotionally open, no retreat into stonewalling, empathy reflection, trigger reflection, your trigger, name calling. Yes. Okay. De-escalation reflection. You modeled a perfect micro repair. Pause to re-regulate. I did that. Name her emotions. Own your pattern. Show tangible change and action. Growth suggestions. Practice micro check-ins. When you sense her frustration rising, ask a short grounding question like, are you feeling disconnected right now? That's a good one. Reinforce repair with consistency. This, by the way, it creates connection again to just tune in real time. Reinforce repair with consistency. The reminder is a great symbolic start, but the real trust repair happens when she sees repetition over time. True, and maybe a reminder is, it's a good start. Right? But the core topic of the conflict, of the fight, is below that. And it's probably not not just that I didn't call because I was late in that scenario, but because she often in the relationship doesn't feel seen or heard. Work on self-soothing around shame? Obviously, yes. Yeah, this is the tricky part. And this is usually also what's so difficult in real relationship conflict. So when we are in a conflict, as I said in the beginning, I think the difficult part is not to resolve the conflict using, for example, nonviolent communication. There are a ton of strategies out there or skills we can learn, but the difficult part is also to not get too dysregulated yourself as you are triggered, because when your loved one is saying to you, I would better stay with my ex because my ex always listened to me and you don't, in such a heated conflict, yes, it's mean. It is not respectful saying that to your partner, but it might happen and you might hurt your partner in a conflict because you're triggered and it's heated and you want to protect yourself. It's a protection mechanism. It's nothing more. But the thing is that we forget these things. We forget that it's a coping mechanism here that we are dealing with, and that we are dealing with our partner through the inner child mode. And when you're also in the inner child mode, yeah, it's tricky. But this is why I see every conflict, every fight, every argument these days also as a chance to practice exactly that, to stay with myself, to not get drawn too much into my inner child. Obviously, I can't manage it every time, but I think I'm getting a bit better here step by step. And I try to remind myself that I'm dealing here with my partner's copings and that it's doable, and that I try to see really the other person's perspective here and try to feel what she or he is truly trying to empathize there. Because often it's not about what's being said in the conflict, but it's more about, and this is the final reminder here as well, in the conflict it's always about an unseen, unmet need. In every relationship conflict of all kind, unmet need. Try to identify which need is behind or stands behind the emotion that is currently expressed. If you can manage that, can resolve any kind of conflict. Of course, you need to come to a concrete action there to find a solid ground, a compromise. If that's not possible, it's difficult and you cannot offer anything, but usually you can. You find a middle ground, somewhere where you can both meet in the end, probably after the conflict, and get both of your needs met. This is usually how it works. And if you now think, wow, Robert, that was eye-opening, hopefully helpful, then definitely leave a comment below. I'm so happy to read every comment. If you want to support this channel and podcast, also go to understandable.net, join our premium courses and community. And yeah, I'm wishing you a wonderful, hopefully conflict-free day, and see you in the next video.